on the issue of women's rights that the Deputy Secretary mentioned. I mean, you mentioned that the U.S. would not recognize a Taliban government that supports terrorism. Is its respect for women's rights a red line for you?
Well, women's rights, to quote someone who has spent quite a bit of time in this building, women's rights are human rights. Human rights are women's rights.
Do you recognize them if they do not keep to these supposed, commitments that they've made about women being able to exercise at least some rights?
What we are going to be looking for, beyond words, beyond proclamations, beyond press conferences, are deeds, is the follow-through. Will the Taliban uphold their responsibility that the international community recognizes to uphold and protect the rights of all of their citizens? So yes, women's rights are human rights. For us, that is absolutely vital. But I should say it is not just us. This is the broad international community speaking with one voice. We've talked, and you probably don't want to hear me talk anymore, about the UN Security Council press statement that was issued just recently by members of the Security Council, including our closest allies, but also countries with whom we share very little else, including Russia and China. But let me just spend a moment on some other data points. The European Union Minister of Foreign Affairs, ministers of foreign affairs, that is to say the foreign affairs ministers of the EU.
Is any of this changing conditions on the ground at all? I mean, you've been reading statements for days here.
Rich, this is all part and parcel of our efforts to forge conditions on the ground, to help shape conditions on the ground. Importantly, to send a very clear signal to the Taliban that their behavior, that their actions will have concrete consequences. We can say that. Our partners, our like-minded partners, can say that. But when the rest of the world says that, it does send a very important message. So yes, this is critically important. This is what the State Department does. This is what, in any number of contexts, has helped to moderate the behavior of governments, regimes, forces, the rest of the world over. It's about more than recognition. It's about more than legitimacy. It is a matter of support. It's a matter of carrots. It's a matter of that assistance. But it's also a matter of accountability. And it is making clear to a group like the Taliban that they will be held accountable in meaningful and profound ways should they not do so. So I won't belabor the point, but the European Union, all of their ministers of foreign affairs, put out a statement saying they call on all parties in Afghanistan to respect all commitments made and to pursue further an inclusive political solution. The Canadians have been outspoken on this. Prime Minister Trudeau, I'm sure many of you have seen what he said. The NATO Secretary General has said that there are efforts to establish some kind of inclusive government. Many national actors have called for that. And of course, if that happens, it will be easier to have some kind of relationship. Heiko Maas, the German foreign minister, we will not give another cent to the Taliban if the Taliban introduces Sharia law.
How can the United States or the international community, aside from dangling the aid issue out there, which I know we've talked about the Taliban once, they may end up not really caring at the end of the day. And so how can all of these aspirations be enforced?
They may not care about these ephemeral concepts like legitimacy and recognition.
But they haven't in the past.
Their past behavior suggests that, correct.
So there's not a whole lot of confidence that they won't change their...
But what this does, this has... The question was not about the airport, Rich. I'm happy to talk about the airport.
Yeah.
Yes, let's talk about the airport.
Out of Brussels,
we're hearing that flights are leaving.
Don't mean
I am
anything
answering the question that was asked of me. If you would like to go to another topic, we certainly can.
In Afghanistan, we're hearing that flights